terrified. But I was watched.
Were you?
They were frightened of the effects it would have on my father.
And then, I mean, you've done a lot of West End or London stage musicals.
Yes, I've been, a few. And it was successful, thank goodness. It was lovely, yes.
You've done, well, according to my list, you've done a show called No Strings.
Yeah, I was understudying the lead in No Strings at Her Majesty's Theatre.
And then there's another one here that I've got to ask you about. It's called Cowardly Custard and the Bubbling Brown Sugar.
Cowardly Custard is Noel Coward.
Is it?
And we did that, yes, we did this. It was a review of Noel Coward material, which we did at the Mermaid Theatre, Blackfriars. I think that ran about 18 months.
Really? And of course...
Pat Routledge was in it.
Oh, really?
Pat Routledge. And when Pat left, it was taken over by Julie Mackenzie. Una Stubbs was there.
Of course, Una.
Oh, it was lovely.
Well, Una's a local girl. She was born locally as well.
That's right, yeah.
So
it was a super show.
Actually, that's Noel Coward. You with sort of the Jamaican connection, that's quite interesting, because I've been out to Jamaica, and of course Noel had a big house out there, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I didn't realise that at that time.
No. So Bubbling Brown Sugar sounds good as well.
That was wonderful. That was in the 70s, 1977, and that was at the Royalty Theatre in Kingsway. It was with Billy Daniels. I don't know if you'd have heard it. Old Black Magic.
Yes, I do remember
Old Black
Billy
Magic,
Daniels, yes.
Who else was in it? Stephanie Lawrence, Amy Stewart, who had a hit called Knock on Wood, Clark Peters, Michael Brown,
You've got a very
Charles
good
Hawkins. It was a fabulous show, if I say it myself. I think it knocked spots off other shows in London. It was great. Wonderful choreography, super songs,
and
standards, like Sophisticated Lady and Honeysuckle Rose, all songs, foot tapping.
You've got a tremendous memory, I'll tell you.
It was lovely.
And then
in fact, they probably will resurrect it at some time,
It does seem to be that, doesn't it? They seem to be coming, it's almost like a loop, I mean, recently they'd resurrected Rocky Horror Show, that was sort of finished, and then that's come back again. And of course, you did The Wiz as well, didn't you?
Yes, how did you know that? Yes. I did that, and that was at the Lyric Theatre, Hammersmith, I think. It's a super score. Have you heard it?
I do know. I've seen the film with Michael Jackson and
that's right, and
Diana Ross.
Diana.
The fabulous Diana Ross, of course.
Lovely, lovely score. And we did it. We actually had a helicopter on stage, I seem to remember,
Health and safety.
It was super.
And then you did something for the centenary of Jerome Kern. You did Jerome Kern Goes to Hollywood.
Goes to Hollywood. Yes, we did that at the Donmar.
And that
with Liz Robertson, Elizabeth Welsh, and David Kernan. Four of us. It was super. That rang for quite a long time. And then we took that to Broadway.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Broadway.
And I can't think, we were at the Ritz Theatre, Broadway. We didn't run a long time.
Well, I think probably Jerome Kern is perhaps very much for the English market. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Actually, I think.
Strange.
Well, all things considered, we were in a theatre which was much too big for the show. It was a revue, and we should have actually been, I think, off Broadway.
Yeah.
We were in this vast theatre.
Yeah. And then
But we made it. We got there, and we did it.
But while you were there, you made your cabaret debut, didn't you? In the ballroom in New York, a big famous venue.
That's right. Yes. But Blossom Dearie, that was her regular gig, and she was going away, and I took it over for a while. It was lovely.
Oh, that can't be bad. And then more recently, you've been touring. You've been doing a load of tribute concerts, I suppose you could call them.
Yeah, well, my Gershwin and Cole Porter.
She'll be doing
up and down the country.
Yes.
Prior to that, I did tours with a gentleman called Keith Smith. He put on shows like Thank You, Mr. Gershwin, which starred Georgie Fame and myself, and then there was Paul Jones.
I know of Manfred Mann fame.
Yes,
what a great singer that guy is. He's an underrated singer.
He's lovely, lovely.
Really?
We travelled up and down the country doing, what was that? That was Hooray for Hollywood.
Yes, Hooray for Hollywood, and you did Let's Do It.
Yes.
According to my research, you did that as well with Mr.
Porter,
Jones.
Yeah.
And
we went all over the country, right up to Scotland, right down to Cornwall, doing those. And then afterwards, I continued doing my own evening of Gershwin and Cole Porter.
Is that By George, it's Gershwin?
Yes.
Yeah, and you took that to a place I love, New Zealand.
Yes. I've been there now about 7 or 8 times, I think.
Beautiful. Anybody who's never been, well worth a visit.
It's a long, long way, but it is
a long trip.
stunning.
Oh, no, tell me about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you start off, well, not yourself, but I started off and I was clean shaven. By the time I got there, I had a beard. It was... It's a long way. It's about 24 hours altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I must admit, when I went, I broke my trip up in Los Angeles and in Hong Kong. But sitting in the plane does my head in, really.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I used to also take, say, world cruises. Some of the cruises would go, say, from Honolulu and drop me in Auckland. Then I'd get off in Auckland, take local leave, and do my tour of New Zealand. And then fly back, so I'd break the journey that way.
That sounds a good plan. I can carry your bags next time. I'm
travelling light these days, I can tell you.
This is Seclo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seclosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seclo Sounds and listen online or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seclo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page.
Woke up and the toilet was overflowing. Must call the plumber. Realised the kids needed swimming lessons as it's all got out of control. Luckily the old windows gave out, so we all floated outside. Must get on to the glazers. And now the garden looks atrocious. Now what was the number for that landscaper?
Because you never know when a potential customer needs you, get yourself listed in your local flyer, the local business directory. Your local flyer, bringing businesses to your fingertips.
What are you doing the rest of your life? North and south and east and west of your life. I have only one request of your life. That you spend it all with me. All the seasons and the times of your days. All the nickels and the dimes of your days. Let the reasons and the rhymes of your days all begin and end. I want to see your face in every kind of light, in fields of dawn and forests of the night. And when you stand before the candles on the cave, please let me be the one to hear the silent wish you make. Those tomorrows waiting deep in your eyes, in that world of love you keep in your eyes. I'll awaken what's asleep in your eyes. It may take a kiss or two. All of my life, loving you. All of my life, summer, winter, spring, and fall of my life. All I ever will recall of my life is all.
You're listening to the Sticks Radio Show here on Secular Sound this Monday morning, and you just heard from my guest, Elaine Delmar. That was her song, What Are You Doing the Rest of Your Life? A leading question. But let's rejoin Elaine as we talk a little more about her career. You've done some great recordings, some great songs. So wonderful, I'll get my teeth organised.
Wonderful, that's Gershwin.
Yeah, that's Gershwin. You've done. I'm going to play. I'm going to play a song after we've spoken, which I love, and I didn't realise you'd done a version of it. It's called Alone Again, which everybody remembers from who's old enough from the mid-70s. Gilbert O'Sullivan. Gilbert O'Sullivan did it in the mid-70s.
That's right, he wrote it.
He wrote it. I mean, he lives in Jersey now. He's a great guy. And that is. I listened to your version. I've got it, and I loved it. And
well, I think I was recording for CBS or something, and the A&R guy came up with this idea, and I thought, oh, it's not the kind of song I generally would sing, but okay, it was fine.
You've also done at least one movie that I found out you'd done, and that was for Ken Russell.
That was Mahler.
Yeah, about
Gustav Mahler, the wonderful composer.
I bet that was.
Ken Russell. Not long. I think I was still doing Bubbling Brown Sugar at the time. Got this phone call asking me if I'd like to go on audition for Ken Russell. I thought, yes, okay. And anyway, I was given the part, and we spent the day on the train up and down, the Bluebell line down in Sussex.
Yes, I know it. Yes, I do.
Hayward Heath, yes. Well, that was where they were filming. So it was a very cold, dank day, I can tell you.
I know it's never nice when you have to do things like that outside. I remember a couple of years ago, I had to go and do a photo shoot for Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yes.
And it was, should we say, we went to a paintballing place where they shot Joseph with paintball. And I tell you what, that's got to be one of the coldest days I've ever been outside. Yeah. And I wasn't sure if my legs had dropped off until I got back in the car and put the heating on. It always is the same way, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I bet working with Ken Russell was fun, though, wasn't it?
Well, he was a very volatile gentleman, I have to say. Luckily, I didn't get in the way of his anger, but boy, some people did. Very, very talented director. Fabulous.
Yeah. And, of course, you work a lot now. We mentioned the cruise liners. You also work at places like Ronnie Scott's in London.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that is an iconic venue.
Yeah, I started working at Ronnie's in the 60s. And, of course, the place has changed hands, and Ronnie's gone, and Pete King has gone, who used to run it. But it's beautifully handled now. It's beautifully managed. And I do a lunchtime session there once every 6 months, which is a joy. And
I read that you've worked there every year for the past 16 years. So you told me... Are
they going to give me a long service medal?
They might do, actually. When you have to get to 20, apparently, they told me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And, I mean, lunchtime must be quite, in many ways, probably harder to do than evening.
No, it's lovely. On a Sunday.
Oh, you do it on a Sunday, okay.
On a Sunday, and people... come from far and wide, I must say. They come down there and they order their lunch, and it's a slightly different audience to the nighttime jazz audience. But they're wonderful. It's great, So I can be home and eating shredded wheat by 4:30 in the afternoon.
So I was going to ask you if you had a secret. Now you've let the cat out of the bag. You're not eating shredded wheat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No.
Yeah, well, you don't. Also, I mean, people have got such difficulties parking cars and things in the West End, and the congestion charge and all that. So it's so much easier, and the tension is out of it all on a Sunday.
I'll be honest with you. If I go up to London, I always take the train. So I just can't be doing the car parking.
I know, it really is stressful.
I mean, I'll talk about your life. Your daughter, she lives in America.
She lives in LA, yes.
You're a lucky girl. So, I mean, I bet she's not as cold as we are at the moment.
No, but she's always complaining to me about... She'll probably phone me in a minute because it's about 7 in the morning her time, saying, oh, it's just too hot.
Oh, yeah. Apparently she's into singing as well.
Well, she does sing, and she was in a wonderful choir over there. She also, do you know Jeff Goldblum, the actor?
I do indeed, yes.
Yeah, well, he's a good jazz pianist.
Is he really?
For a little while, she was singing in a little bar with him. He had a quartet, and I would send her some of my music over, and she'd go in and
wow.
He was loving that, But, she's getting on in years now, as they say. It's very difficult to launch a career. She works in... what do they call chemical trials?
Oh yes. Clinical trials.
Drugs, treating melanoma and diabetes and things. She works in that.
Yes.
And
Okay, but it's quite interesting how, like you mentioned, Josh Goldblum plays jazz, and of course Hugh Laurie's just come out, from the House, and he plays jazz.
That's right.
And we've also got Alexander Armstrong from